Welcome to this Profit Protector Pro videos. Today I'm going to be telling you a little bit about suspensions and how to avoid them. So first off, let's talk about what suspensions even are. So just like lots of other things in life, Amazon has a set of rules that you need to abide by. So suspensions is basically Amazon's way of policing their platform. There are sellers out there who will try and abuse rules, exploit loopholes and so forth solely for their benefit, which can result in a very uneven playing field between them and other sellers. Not to mention it can lead to negative goings on for customers, causing upset and distress, and they may never shop on Amazon. And in some cases, if it is really bad, it might put them off of shopping online full stop. For a time, maybe even for a long time, who knows. Obviously Amazon don't want this, and they want the platform to be a great and vibrant place for anyone and everyone. Now, as you may or may not know, Amazon is actually the #1 online store, full stop. It's also the #1 online reselling choice for sellers as well, which is just as interesting. And it's been that way for the longest time. Like if you look up any statistics online, you'll see that Amazon has been the dominant it's been the dominant platform for many years now, carrying this on. Unfortunately, and I think this is the reason why people feel a little bit strange around suspensions, and there's sort of this bad sort of like stereotype around it, I think is the right way of saying, because unfortunately there are occasions when Amazon have been known to be a bit shoot first, ask questions later, which is part of why there's that fear. And I completely understand, I completely sympathize, because sometimes it is legitimately where someone wasn't aware of like a certain rule change, and so they crossed it by accident, and therefore a rule was broken, or maybe there was an honest mistake, but obviously there's not been any time to rectify that or explain, because they have just done a suspension. They will only suspend an account though if there is an actual reason for it. They don't just look at anyone's account and go, yeah, we feel like suspending your account today, and they just do it. So that is completely off of the board. Like regardless of what people tell you, that is completely off the board. That won't ever happen. It will always be for a reason, and if the reason's wrong, then it'll be easy for you to get your account reinstated. The good news is that if you abide by the rules and keep up to date on them, because it is actually a lot harder than what some people out there make out to get suspended. You have to really be trying to do it on purpose, basically. As long as you follow Amazon's terms and conditions, then you can't go wrong, okay? And there's plenty of places where you can keep up with any rule changes and things like that. Like when you get started with selling on Amazon, even though no one likes to read the terms and conditions, have a read through, because it is your business at the end of the day on the line if you don't. And it helps with your Amazon knowledge, because there'll be things in there that they mention that will help with your general knowledge, and it can help with your Amazon business. And of course it will show you the ropes and what to do, what not to do, and as long as you're staying compliant, then you will be fine. Every so often something changes, and to be honest, it can be a bit hard to miss, because people end up talking about policy changes in Facebook groups, Discord groups. So I'll definitely be joining a number of those if you haven't done so already. And I mean, Amazon Seller Central, if you have it marked whereby they can email you about things, it can be very useful, and I've definitely found it very useful to have emails from Seller Central. Like for example, when they introduced Amazon Ireland, they were explaining the benefits of that as well. So if they just said, oh hey, here's a new marketplace, I'd be like, okay, great, and I could only just sort of about think of what those benefits are just based on my own knowledge. But Amazon laid it all out nicely when there was a change with bundles and how that was handled. I was emailed about that, and so they do actually convey information to you if you have a look at your emails. So definitely check those things out. How can you get suspended? Now, as I say, this is quite hard to do, and you'll see just how hard it can be to do by looking at these points with me. So firstly, selling counterfeit stock, which is really hard to do, because that's why the whole ungating system even exists on Amazon in the first place. You have to prove you've got a tangible, reliable source for that product. That's what the invoice is all about, and that you're going through the proper routes to get your stuff. And of course you have to get it gated, so obviously everything's got to be legitimate, and therefore you can sell that stuff. This is why Amazon is great, because for other online selling platforms there isn't anything like that. So people can be coming on and selling fakes or pirate copies of things and so forth. And then obviously as a result of that, the customer gets a not so great product. And it's just a real shady way of selling like counterfeit stuff, unless of course someone knows that, like, for example, if it's a fake Gucci and you advertise it as a fake Gucci, then that's fine, because they know exactly what they're getting. It's just when people pass it off as the legitimate thing, then that's where obviously it's not good, it's wrong. Selling banned items, again, that's really tough to do in the first instance, but if you're trying to sell something like a gun, of course it's not going to work. Product safety complaints, so you will definitely be aware of things like this, even if you haven't been selling on Amazon, or if this is your first time, you've definitely seen things like this before, or at least I would say that you have, because these things do happen every so often, just in general. Like, you see it at some stores when they've sold something, and then they'll actually put up a bit of paper in the on the door, and have it on the notice board, and they might even post it. They might send emails about it, where they say, hey, if you bought this product in between this date and this date, please can you return it, and we'll happily like refund or exchange or whatever it is that they want to do, because obviously there's a safety issue with that product. And so if you're selling something that you know isn't right, then obviously that's wrong. But if you sell it and you think everything is okay, but then you start getting some safety complaints and you don't then withdraw everything or do the right thing to make it up to that customer, then that's where suspension can come in. If you're selling things not as advertised, use items sold as new, that's basically the same thing there, not as advertised. So if you're saying something is new when actually it's not, it's actually used, then of course that's a ticket to getting suspended. IP claims, to mention the obvious, so if the brand says nope, don't sell our stuff, and you proceed to sell their stuff, then obviously they can file an IP claim against you and you can get into trouble there. There is an IP radar over on Buybot Pro, so that can help you with understanding which brands are problematic and which ones aren't. And if you basically just don't look after your Amazon account, if you just don't aspire to be a good seller, so when you get an order, the deal is you get the item out as soon as you can. I mean, if you've already sent it off to Amazon, then that's okay, because they'll do that bit for you. So it's just about being as proactive as you can be. It's about being as quick as you can be, especially if you are FBM. If you have horrible order defect rates, late shipment rates, etc., like as that gradually builds, your account health goes down and down and down and down, and Amazon they don't want sellers on the platform that just aren't holding up like good service. And you have to basically to get to that level, you basically have to purposely do these things and do these things and do nothing about certain things in order for your account to have to go down and down and down. Like, you basically end up pushing it down if you want it to go down. So if that happens over and over and over and over and over, they can suspend you. How long does suspensions last? So the length of an Amazon suspension can vary from a few hours to indefinitely. It depends on the severity of the violation. So if we look at, say, if you accidentally like list something as new and it's not, even though that's very hard to do, like let's just say that that's what happened, and that's very different to if you are purposely selling counterfeit things. Like, there's different levels there. For minor infractions, you can usually regain access to your account within 48 hours of submitting a plan of action. However, the review process can take days, weeks, or even months. Again, depending on how much back and forth there is. So when it comes to communicating with Amazon, you need to be clear and professional, even though it might be hard to. If you get annoyed and you flip off at them and so forth, they aren't going to be very cooperative and forthcoming with you. Give Amazon everything that they ask for exactly as they ask for it. So if they say, oh, provide X, Y, and Z, and we can investigate this and get your account reinstated, and you only provide X and Y, they need that Z as well, but you've not provided that, so therefore getting your account reinstated is going to take longer, or it might just not work full stop, because they need all of those things in order to do it. It's a bit like when you submit your invoice to get Gated. If they tell you it needs your address on it that you have in your Seller Central and you just don't do that, then you can't expect to get Gated because it doesn't meet the requirements that they've laid out. If you find yourself hitting a bit of a wall where it feels like Amazon aren't understanding what you're saying or what's going on, see if you can maybe like reword your messages or explain them in a different way to get things through to them. And you can use ChatGPT to help you do that. Like the AI there can help you write your message in a way that, of course, would be professional and give them everything that they need based on the information that you've given. Some basic things on how to avoid suspension. So some of these things can be things that you don't know until you know, and that's what I'm trying to help you do in this video. So don't purchase like ever from eBay or third-party sellers on any marketplace other than like actual stores, like the ones that we know: Argos, Walmart, B&M, Best Buy, all of the legitimate stores. Like we just know that they're legitimate. Now eBay is legitimate, but the sellers on there, the other third-party sellers, you can't buy stuff from them because you don't know where those products came from, and because you don't know where they actually came from, because you can't say, you don't know like their legitimacy. So that's where you could be selling something that you think is legit, but actually it's counterfeit or whatever, or it's not authentic. You will lose an appeal. Keep all invoices and receipts and store them electronically so they don't get lost or eaten by the dog or fade over time. So anything online, that's all good. You just need to put it in a folder. If you have any physical invoices and receipts, yes, you can keep them, but my advice to you would be to take a picture of them and put them on a device, store them electronically, because obviously nothing can fade on there. Make sure any invoices you receive, if they show a name and address, match the information that that you have in your Amazon Seller Central account. Collate VAT invoices if you're UK based for all of your products, and wherever possible, even if you're not VAT registered, try and get a VAT invoice from wherever it is that you're buying your products from. It can be time consuming, but a good invoice can literally save your business. So that's a little bit about suspensions and how to avoid them. However, if you do happen to fall into getting a suspension, then you can get help for it. The best thing to do is actually to put together a plan of action with people that know what they're doing, that know what to say, and they can help you get your account reinstated. There's no point going in on a whim trying to feel through what you need to do, because the best thing to do is to have that plan of action. It's quicker to get your account reinstated. It gives Amazon everything that it needs. There's less back and forth, and it means that you are geared up with all of the right knowledge. Okay, they do all of that knowledge work for you. So that's why you have this suspension safeguard option on some of the Profit Protector Pro plans. So if you do take out a plan with suspension safeguard on it, you are covered by the team at Getting Suspended. So therefore, if you have any issues with suspensions, you can use their help to get their plan of actions to help you reach out to Amazon and so forth, and they can give you advice and so forth on what to do and correctly guide you to getting your account reinstated. At this point, they've helped hundreds, if not thousands, of people get their accounts reinstated. So having that suspension safeguard there is definitely a great thing. It's like having insurance. So yeah, hopefully this helps you understand a bit more about suspensions and how to avoid them.